Carl, before the nurses go to the consulate, they are going to have to do a medical. Can you give us what your best practice tips are for the medical, or any mistakes that you've seen nurses made over the years in terms of?
No, yeah, I haven't really seen any serious mistakes. I mean, I think people worry too much about the medical. They think, oh, well, actually, I did think of one big mistake. So I know some of the doctors in Manila, I once had this happen. They will ask people, have you ever smoked marijuana? Have you ever taken any drugs? And people will be less worried than they'd be at the interview, and they'll say, oh yeah, I smoked a few joints, when I was in college. Remember, the doctor's going to share that information with the examiner, okay? And the immigration laws are very, very harsh in the United States. I used to say, if marijuana smoking was enough to deny a green card, then Presidents Clinton, Bush, and Obama would never have been able to get green cards. Certainly Trump wouldn't have been able to get a green card in the United States. But that, the fact that somebody did smoke marijuana in the past, but they weren't arrested or convicted of a crime, is not something that would keep somebody from getting a green card. But this particular client called me from the Philippines, so it was 10 years ago, and they actually denied him because he had told the doctor that he had smoked marijuana, and we had to wrestle with the embassy in Manila for quite a few weeks, and then we finally got him the green card, and he came to the United States. But he was worried that, at that time, it took years to get your interview. I mean, it's faster now, and he thought it's all down the drain. So what they're looking for is, really serious communicable diseases, and they're not going to let somebody over with one of those diseases.
Just two things that I wanted to raise actually from our side of some of the mistakes that we've seen people make on the medicals before we move back to the actual interview stage is going to their own doctor.
Oh my God.
Have you ever seen that happen before, Carl?
No, I haven't. That's interesting. Yeah, they give you a list, and you must go to a doctor that's been approved by the U.S. government. Absolutely, Tanya.
Yeah, so that has come up for us. We've had one or two cases like that where somebody didn't realize, sometimes people don't, there's a lot of information and it can feel very overwhelming. So we have had one or two cases where people gone to their own doctors, to their own physicians, and didn't realize that they had to go to a
I thought of another, I did think of one thing that I've seen a mistake a couple of times on, that the doctors will give you the exam in a sealed envelope.
That's the other one, yes.
Right. Don't open the envelope. Make sure it's sealed when you hand it to the examiner at the embassy, because they want to open it. If you open it, then you've screwed up the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So please, it actually says it, but don't open that envelope, as Carl said. And then the third mistake that we've seen, we only had one nurse who made this mistake, but I just want to raise it in case it comes up for anybody else. And that's the importance of this show, Onwards and Upwards, because the more prepared you are, the more you educate yourself, the less hassles and stress you're going to give yourself with this process. But we did have one nurse in the past who didn't realize that the whole family had to be vaccinated. And then went to the consulate, and she happened to have 5 kids and a spouse, and became very problematic. So just want to highlight that also for some people, because again, there's a lot of information. It can feel very overwhelming and very stressful. And you don't want to miss that detail, because that caused a lot of issues. And thankfully we were able to resolve that.